In this tutorial, I'm going to show you two basic functions that Photoshop can do, and they're very useful even though they're basic. Let's get started by opening up a file. The file I'm opening up is called Dark Street, and you can try this when you're done watching this. You can try the same thing. Now the first thing I'd like to do is take this square photo and make it more of a rectangle. By using this cropping tool, which by the way you find right here in the toolbox, you can surround the area you would like to keep and adjust it according to the composition that you would like. Now once you have it adjusted the way you'd like, you can hit enter, which accepts that image. Now I'm going to zoom in by hitting Command 0. The other thing I'd like to do on this is a levels adjust. Now if you look at this, it's kind of an interesting photo. It looks very stormy, very ominous and dark. Now if you want a more of a daytime look to this, this is where we can do some adjustments. To adjust levels, which is one of the most useful adjustments you can do, it's under Image, Adjust Levels, or Command L. Now when you're in adjustments for levels, what you're seeing here is a histogram. This histogram represents all the pixels, the dark and light pixels in this photo. If you were to take all of the little square pixels and sort them out by darkness, you would put all the darkest ones on this end and all the brightest ones on this end. In fact, this edge of the graph represents black or shadow. This end of the graph represents highlights, and then in between would be the midtones. Now you notice there are no highlights. It's pretty obvious when you look at the photo. Now if you want to do adjustments on levels, one of the first things you look for are gaps, either on the highlight end or on the shadow end, and generally you want to close those gaps. So if I take the highlight and bring it to where there is actually something on the graph, I can move it like this and then do a fine adjustment with the midtones, and you can see this makes a tremendous difference. It makes it look like it went from nighttime to daytime. So cropping and levels adjust are really very useful. Now let's take a look at a second image. I'm going to open up one. Instead of being too dark, I'm going to open one that's a little bit too light. Now this image is actually, again, it could be the way the original photographer wanted it to be. It has a nice soft look, but if you want to do an adjustment on that, you can. Now I'm not going to crop this because I think the cropping is really good, but I am going to do a levels adjust. Command L again is the shortcut. Now on the histogram on this, you can see there are virtually no shadows. There are a lot of highlights. All the bright areas in this are represented by this stack of pixels, so to speak, and then everything else in between. Now if I take the shadow slider, like I was saying in the last one, you want to close the gap. Kind of a general rule is to close those gaps, bring it to where there is something on the graph, and then do an adjustment with the midtone slider. So let's take a look at how that looks. I'm going to do an undo so you can see the before and the after. And again, it depends on what kind of effect you're looking for, whether you like this one or this one. It's just a way of showing you how you can do some levels adjust and take a photo that is either a little too dark or a little too light or just flat in general, and you can really make it pop out. So that's doing cropping and levels adjust. Go ahead and try that on these examples or try it on some examples of your own.